Hi, welcome to the Pursuit of Truth. So I'm back in the UK. I know I already made the video before that about Donald Trump and Volodymyr Zelensky's meeting, but I thought I'd just reflect on my time and how it's been. Yeah, it was interesting to go to South Africa. Obviously, it's the third time going, but from the Pursuit of Truth angle, what I mentioned about several times was. And this is why I always harp on about, the system that we live within and why it's important to get to that truth of understanding that the intrinsic truth is we're all human beings. We live in this realm of, England, Scotland, Wales, Europe, America, Australia, Middle East, Africa, whatever country you want to, whatever box we ring-fenced ourselves into. And we compete against each other, even though sometimes we pretend that we don't compete against each other and all that kind of stuff. But it's all unnecessary because we've chosen this way. We didn't. People thousands of years ago who were greedy and possessive, who wanted to go to a place, and rather than just going to a place and seeing, oh, look at this beautiful place, look at these beautiful people, what they wanted to do, rather than doing that and then going back home and saying, we found some beautiful people, we can work together and, we're not alone, like in every science fiction story would be. Instead, what they wanted to do was say, like, I want that bit of land. I'm going to kill all those people in that bit of land, or trick them to signing over and taking it and possessing it and making it part of my empire or my king's empire. How stupid. But that's history, and that's where we are now, because those people, decided, well, we have to protect against this lot of people. And maybe it's human instinct to fight each other. I don't know. I hope it's not. Intrinsically, I don't think it is, because when babies are together, nurseries and things, they don't do that. Well, I suppose children do when they want one wants a toy. So maybe it is intrinsically in us to want to possess, to want to hold. But I think we nurture that feeling with birthdays and Christmas and presents and identity and culture and the ring fencing of countries and nationalities and all that kind of stuff. And, enforces that and makes it part of our life. But I don't know if it's intrinsically there or not. I would hope it's not. But that's the thing. And it's funny because we all will protect everyone and say, well, what, this is perfect, this system and the way we're living. It is if you're in the Western world, where you have all these luxuries and all these things like electricity, water and houses and, social care and all that kind of stuff. But not everyone has that. But the thing is that, they will defend that, it's like, this is great. This is our great country, our great culture. We have to hold on to all these things, and won't want to acknowledge the fact that we're all human beings and that we're all one, and we all found ourselves here together at this period in time. And we're following a legacy of greed and possession of people before. Because that's what it is, isn't it? That's what happened. No, there's people that found other bits of land, or even the bits of land they found themselves on, even at a small scale, wanted to say, this is my bit of land. You go over there. I'll have this bit, you have that bit, and never the twain shall meet. Yes, Anina, was it, sweetie? So, yeah. So when I was in South Africa, the thing that I noticed, obviously, was because first was, what is it you want, Lena? What do you want, Lena? What do you want? You finished with the computer upstairs. Is it Aiden's turn? Is it Aiden's turn?
No.
Then go quickly then, before Aiden gets there. Do you want something? What do you want, Alina?
Chocolate.
Oh, okay, chocolate. 1 minute. Chocolate?
Yeah.
Here's chocolate. Sorry, just wait a second. Yeah, chocolate? Okay, sorry about that. So yeah, the obviously, and I talked about this in the YouTube videos already, is the water. First was the lack of water. Only water coming on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and not always on that whole Sunday. I mean, imagine that. They keep threatening or warning us here of, we may get electricity or water shortages, mostly electricity, or gas. It hasn't happened yet. But imagine you go there, or you have only water for 3 days, and you get charged the same price, and everyone pretends it's all okay. And is there a lack of water? I don't know. Is it just because they don't have the money hasn't been spent on infrastructure and these things, and just how that devastates your life, being because you have to have a bucket for the toilet, you have to have the buckets for the water. If you don't have, luckily they're at home, they had that big water tank with, I think it was 2,500 litres or something like that, or 5,000. I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's 2,500. I know it's a 10 in the video, which is nothing. And that luckily lasts a whole week. But imagine you have to keep pouring that water into buckets, one for the toilet, one, and then boil up water for the bath. And then, of course, what happened in the second week is the electricity went. So there would be load shedding, which of course everyone knows about in South Africa. But it was 3 times a day, And in the morning, like 6 till 10 or 9, when everyone's waking up and going. And then in the afternoon, when you're cooking lunch. And then in the evening, when you're cooking dinner. One day, it went off at 9 o'clock at night. It reminded me, when you're a kid, you always wanted a power cut. But when you're actually grown up and in it, it's like, actually, it's not really that fun, is it? Because then everyone has to go to bed. There's nothing you can do. You can't eat. You can't cook. And then, obviously, Aidan got diarrhea, and also Mummy and Misha got it as well. Probably because the difficulty, because without water is not so difficult. But when you have without water and electricity, because then that water, you can't. It's difficult to then boil. How do you wash your hands? Because for those 3 hours when there's no electricity, unless you boiled a kettle of water, which sometimes they did, but you have to have they bought a big tea making machine to boil that water. How do you, make sure that your hands are clean? It increases these things. And the fact is, when the water did come back on, the colour of the water was disgusting. It was like a yellowy colour, despite how much, and this could be the tank, it could be, they're not cleaning it nicely. But just the difficulty. And then, of course, like I said in the videos, in some countries, the so-called, in the Western terms, third world countries, they don't even have that. That's the normality of not having electricity and water, going to wells and drinking out dirty water, also in the Water Aid adverts. But this is the choices that we made. The choices as a collective. Just because we're in a good, wealthy place doesn't mean we don't have responsibility to our fellow brethren. We're brothers and sisters. We are human beings, all of us. The part of being British, American, European, Middle Eastern, whatever, that's secondary. That's man-made. That didn't come from wherever we were. Well, I suppose the thing is, we were given a blank sheet, and we were given a blank sheet in the sense that we could decide how we all wanted to live. And maybe this wasn't the only way. Maybe we did live better in the past. But now we live in a way that is constraining us and stopping us being able to, all of us, survive on what we have. We have the resources and everything to be able to do that. And that's the thing that really hit home. And also the school, like I mentioned, the school there where it was 80 children per class, and they had the old wooden desk that I had in the 80s, and 3 people per desk. 3 chairs at one desk to fill up this space. One teacher. I don't know if there was another one, but I only saw one in the classroom. 80 children sitting around, I guess it's 23 desks or whatever it was. 3 per desk. Wooden desk. A chalkboard. Still using chalkboards. And it was just a basic, brick room with some things on the wall and some windows. And the room where the teachers were was iron, like death trap, really, an corrugated iron type of thing that they make as cheap, which was boiling. And we were standing in it for only minutes. It was boiling. I mean, if you stayed in there long enough, if they closed the door, I think you'd die. That's how. I mean, that wouldn't get past any health and safety in the school in the UK. And no computers, because they had to sell the computers to get teachers. And I don't know how many schools are around the area. I mean, in the UK, they were just not they would say, oh, no, that's our quota. But they can't do that because they know education is so important. It's so important. But they were also well behaved. That's what I saw. They were all quiet, even though there were so many people and so lack of teachers. But they all, because that education is so important. Because in those types of countries where there's no social health care, there's no one to help you out, is the difference between, how you're going to survive in the future. Whereas here, you don't have to worry about that because you can live with your parents. I suppose they can as well. But also, it depends if your parents are well off, and, there's always, job seekers allowance or this benefit or that benefit. But that should be everywhere. But, well, there should be no money everywhere, and we should be helping each other all the time. I mean, if we didn't have the system that we have, I don't think we would have these problems. We would have, because at the moment, the only reason we don't have buildings, or we have expensive buildings that no one can afford, is because of the system that we live in, because we cater to the rich. The builders, they build houses that are going to make them more money. They don't build houses for need. And that's the problem. We have the space, we have the resources, everything, the water, the food, the medicines, the ingenuity, the brains, the resource, the humanity, to be able to do everything that we possibly need and not have this problem. And I know I keep banging on that all the time. But this trip, it showed me more that, yes, this is the importance. And imagine if I went to a place in the so-called Western system, a third world country, where they don't have any of this stuff, and they're living like, Westerners did 300 years ago, in poverty, with dysentery and with cholera and with all these diseases that are killing them, and they're not living long enough. Why are we keeping it this way? Why? I don't understand. I'm thinking about this. Why are those people, the leaders, not? I just don't. But then what I was thinking about as well is how, when I was there, how free I was. That was something cool. All right, take it easy. God bless and peace.